Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. We're tearing this building down behind me. You can't see the machine that's tearing it down. I'm sure you can hear it. And it's pretty crazy. The thing went down in like no time. Crazy. Wild. Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. All right, I want to revisit this idea. Just an idea about Trump and Hillary working together to fix the election. And I'm trying to be fair, and not try to force my thinking so that I get to be right. And like what are the things that support this concept, the other things that don't support this concept. There's way more that support this concept, but I'm inclined to think that this actually may have happened, So let's just start with the basic concept of any time you rig something, okay? Anytime you rig something, anytime something is fixed, it is focused on the loser, okay? That is what you need to fix something. You need somebody that is gonna throw the fight. You cannot fix something and focus on the winner. You need somebody to lose. That's how things are fixed. And so that's number one. Number two is immediately, and that's just common sense, man. That's just common sense. So you have to ask yourself, why immediately following the election did we focus on Russia collusion in the winter? Why did we focus on something that's basically impossible? It is impossible for Russia to fix the election, in terms of like getting somebody to win without having somebody that is going to purposely lose. Let's say Hillary didn't lose the election on purpose. It is impossible for them to fix the election, like some way, district by district, voting machines, county by county. It's impossible. It can't be done. So why are we focusing on that? And my response to that is that basically that was put out there immediately, and we're focusing on that because we were made to focus on that, to focus on a crime. It's being fed. We're being fed a crime to solve a crime that didn't exist, in order to distract us from the real crime. It's very similar to something else. Where if we didn't do that, we might end up looking at what really happened, which is maybe that the two campaigns were working together to fix the election. But I'm just telling you, every time you have something that's rigged, you focus on the loser. That's how you rig it, okay? Crazy. All right. So let me just go through a few points, point by point. They're just observations. None of this proves anything. But when I think this through more and more, it's just common sense that it's a very distinct possibility that this happened. If you think back on the election, Hillary actually was very ruthless in her primary, but not so much so during the general election. I mean, we all know that according to the hacked DNC, emails and the Podesta emails, that supposedly the DNC was in the bag for Hillary. And so they were willing to basically pull out all the stops when it came to the primary, and anything goes kind of strategy, but we didn't really see that in the general election, okay? And if you'll recall, these things just one after another. The DNC refused to hand over their systems to the Department of Homeland Security. The Homeland Security Secretary, Jay Johnson, testified about that. I don't know if the FBI asked for those systems or not. But I know that that's a fact. They refused, and I don't know. I mean, and those are their people. Supposedly, those are people from their party that they refused to hand over their systems to. And why is that, you know? I mean, I've already, in my previous, I mean, the fact that they were so easily, their systems were so easily, gained access to them, so that Podesta was so easily fooled. It just is really hard to believe that somebody at that level, so at that level in life, that is at the very highest level, would have been fooled by something that, you know, even like a third grader almost wouldn't be fooled by. Not quite, but still. Another point, it's possible that the Trump Tower meeting, you know, not everybody there, but it's very possible that some of the people that were there knew they were being surveilled. You know, that's very possible. I don't know the whole Strzok thing, and I even forget all the players, his FBI lover, you know, and stuff. And but I don't know. I mean, he was basically in the bag for Hillary, and they were supposedly plotting to provide an insurance policy and other things. So, I mean, I don't know if he was aware of the Trump Tower meeting before, you know, when it was taking place, and if so, why wasn't he feeding that information to Hillary if he was basically in the bag? He was putting it up. He's an FBI agent. He knows at some point his text could be read. Why wasn't he feeding that information to the Hillary campaign, and why wasn't the Hillary campaign using that, like in the same way they were using, you know, anything goes kind of strategy when it comes to the primary? Hillary's faint, man. I mean, just think. I mean, it's not hard to lose an election on purpose. It's not. It's impossible to rig an election winning. That's just winning, you know. But I mean, if you think it's not. If you want to lose, that's not difficult. It's very difficult to win a presidential election, but it's not very difficult to lose one. All right, and just I think maybe like even like the rumors about her illness, the faint, the fall before she gets in the minivan. That's very possible. It could have been fake. If you just think about it, I mean, that could have happened at any time. It could have happened when she's in the middle of a crowd, on a stage, anywhere. But it didn't. It happened seconds before she's going to go into a van. Even when she's standing, you know, waiting for the van to come there and her back's to everybody and she has security personnel standing around her, she doesn't fall until right when the van gets there. You know, I mean, it's like all the time she's standing there. It's only when the van finally gets there that she falls. And then is whisked away into the van and taken away. Because it's not that easy to fake something like that if you have to see the whole thing, you know. But just a few seconds right before you get into a van, that's a little bit more doable. It's just awfully convenient. Okay. The tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General. Okay. You know, Bill Clinton is a former president. And Loretta Lynch is a friend of theirs. I mean, that was the whole thing. But he could have contacted her in any number of different ways. He could have met with her in any number of different ways, you know, that nobody would have ever known about. All right, but he didn't. He met her in an airport on a tarmac that was destined to be found out because. I mean, to me, it seems like he wanted it to be found out. That's the reason he did that. He wanted it to be known. He wanted it to be. It was intentional. I mean, an airport is almost. There's no more of a public place than that. It's the most public of places, and he did that because he wanted it known. He wanted it to be found out. In my opinion, because he needed to give. He needed to give Comey an excuse to do his press conference that Hillary would then later blame her election loss on. Okay. All right. So some of the things that don't go along with what I'm thinking, you know, you do have a lot of people that have been, you know, they're in the process of being prosecuted, you know, but it's very possible they're just not in on it, man. And, you know, you always need somebody to take the fall for these things. I mean, whether it's Manafort, Flynn, and we don't know what they're talking to the special counsel. We don't know where the special counsel is going. We have no idea. But those are my thoughts for the morning on this topic, and that's the end of this video. All right, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Pretty pleased with sugar on top. Give me a like down below. Smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next video. So from a different angle on the other side. Nutty. Later, man.